All right, welcome everybody to the second, I guess, episode of the Poppin podcast presented by ADU. I actually got it all out of my mouth that time without stumbling over it for the most part, so I'm kind of proud of myself now. This particular episode, we're going to be doing our starting our divisional preview series. With me, as always, to discuss these topics are my good buddy Andrew, also known as Who Day All Day in the All Day Unlimited forums. How you doing, man?
How's it going? Pretty good, not too bad.
I gotta admit, like this is the first time we're doing this not with the cameras on, and it's a little weird not looking at your face.
It is a little different, but I'll get used to it. I'm
Yeah,
just staring at the chicken.
well, hopefully we'll get our faces back on here before long. That'd be the most ideal.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're talking NFC South, AFC South on this first podcast. Clearly, the most exciting groups. Basically, if you're in one of these divisions, you're probably pretty not very good. So,
No. I mean, you got like what? Out of the 8 teams, you got one team that might be able to win multiple games in playoffs.
maybe,
Maybe.
yeah. I do think they have a possibility to go farther. Next year they kind of had a tough draw last year, but if we're gonna talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars, then we might as well go full on and talk about the Jaguars first. They are
Yeah.
currently favored by far to win this division. I think I see them at minus 175 last I checked to take the AFC South. You got the Titans at plus 325, the Colts at plus 700, and the Texans at plus 800. So they're a pretty clear cut favorite as far as the odds makers go to take this division. Do you agree?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the only way they don't win it is if Trevor Lawrence goes down for, you know, numerous games, 5 to 10 games. Yeah. Other than that, I don't see anybody else kind of challenging them, especially if the Colts are about to lose their biggest offensive weapon. They're not going to challenge them. And maybe the Titans can, but they're also the Titans, so you really never know.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Titans, the biggest thing holding them back is their offensive line. If you
Yeah.
if you really you're not going to put it all on Tannehill. Um, uh, do you go to the rookie? Like they did draft a rookie, didn't they? Why do
Yeah,
I?
they had Will Levis from Kentucky,
Ugh,
but he got outplayed by Malik Willis, who was fucking terrible last year. So
he was.
it, like they're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't with their quarterback situation. They all kind of suck, to be honest with you. I mean,
Yeah,
Tannehill's old; he's like what 35,
35. Yeah,
and then you have two unproven rookie and second year guy who may be good, but will probably realistically be shit.
I think that yeah, that's the biggest issue. I mean, yeah, I can't believe D Hop signed there. Like that was
Yeah,
really
that
like what's the selling point there? I mean, you
I mean, he was
Tannehill's
gonna be
not
the
the
number one pretty much wherever he went.
yeah. I mean, and I get they needed him there, but are you really going for you banking on Tannehill to get you the ball enough?
Yeah,
That was a surprising decision. Um,
yeah, one of many, but yeah, the Titans and D Hop really makes no sense.
no, I mean I'm sure they're all very excited to have him there, but you gotta have somebody to be able to get him the ball. I'm
Yeah,
I'm, I'm not really
well,
quite sure the thought process there.
yeah, teams are just gonna stack the box. They'll make Henry try to beat him, and let's be real, Derrick Henry's not Derrick Henry of 2 3 years ago. I mean, he did all right last year. He still had 1,500 yards, but
And that line still sucks. It sucked last year
yeah,
too.
yeah,
Yeah. So I mean, I
yeah. I
think
just
I think Derrick Henry still has some miles left on the tank. Like he he he's been very good the last like you said 3 4 5 years, but wasn't really overused early in his career. So I kind of feel
yeah,
like despite the fact that he's 29, he's still got some miles left on it, and I think given his style of running, it's not necessarily. He relies on his physicality more than anything else, and I think that the physicality stays a lot longer than the quicks on somebody, that size, especially. If anybody's going to be
Yeah.
able to stand up to the beating for a few extra years, it's somebody who's 6'3", 220 or whatever he is.
Yeah. And he did get used a little bit more last year in the pass game.
Yeah.
Uh, Looking at his stats, he had 14 more receptions than he had ever had, and he had 10 more targets than he'd ever had in any other season, and almost put up 400 yards receiving, which almost doubled his next highest. So I mean,
I
he had,
I gotta
you
think.
know,
I gotta think that most of
1,900 yards.
yeah. I gotta think though that most of those receiving yards came on screen passes. I don't think they really used him in much more of a route
Yeah,
tree than screens and slips.
he did have a 69 yarder. That was his long last year. So I'm wondering if could have
Screen
been a
screen
screen that he
pass.
broke off, or a wheel route that he somehow got free from and ran wide open down the sideline.
Yeah, I'm definitely banking on the. I'm putting my money on the screen pass. I mean, like he's good at it, so I'd throw him screen passes too.
But
But
yeah,
I do think he's capable of more. Just maybe he just never has been given the opportunity. But maybe there's a reason he hasn't been given the opportunity. I don't know.
yeah.
Um,
Well, before he was rushing for 2,000 yards a year.
yeah. I just feel like man, that wide receiver core is just way better than the quarterbacks deserve.
Oh yeah. Well, when you add DeAndre Hopkins to the mix, I mean Traylon Burks, he had an all right rookie year. I mean, he only had the one touchdown, and I'm pretty sure it wasn't even on an actual reception. It
Nah,
was,
he was banged up a
mm,
bunch too.
yeah,
See,
yeah.
I, t- I,
Yeah,
I told you, my phone was gonna ring.
you're just a popular person.
Well, it's my new lady. She likes me a little bit, so. Speaking of things I don't like a little bit, how about the Houston Texans?
Yeah. The the Texans are going to Texan. Let's just put it that way. I will be shocked if they win 4 games. And lucky enough for them, unlucky enough for them actually. I'm pretty sure they gave up their first round pick next year uh, to the Cardinals. So lucky Cardinals.
For to what
Uh,
to move up this year?
yeah, when they moved up to get Will Anderson, uh, I'm pretty sure they threw their first round pick next year to the Cardinals. So now the Cardinals have their first round pick, and the Cardinals are going to suck, which you'll hear about later in the NFC West. Um, but yeah, the Texans are just they're hanging everything on CJ Stroud, and he didn't really show a whole lot week 1 of the preseason. Literally threw an interception on like his second pass.
I mean,
Um,
it's a rookie quarterback. You'll hear me say this a lot, and every time we got a rookie quarterback out there getting meaningful snaps, and I'm gonna, I include Kenny Pickett in this as a Steeler fan. I include him, but it's just
mhm.
not a good idea to start rookie quarterbacks week 1. The game is different. It's not. You can't just step in and be good.
Yeah,
If you're willing to have the growing pains that come along with it, then I can be convinced. But man, almost every situation, I think they benefit so much from sitting behind a decent guy and kind of learning the ropes for at least a year, kind of getting their head in the playbook and really learning how to make checks and reads and um, you know picking up hots and stuff like that. It's not necessarily something that happens all that often in the modern college game. The modern college game is very simple. If this guy ain't open, run. And
yeah,
and
exactly.
yeah. So I mean, like I think that's always going to be a problem, and to me, that's the biggest thing holding them back because otherwise, I don't hate their team. Like I love the pick of Anderson. I think Anderson's going to be a baller in due time, if not this year. Um, I think
But he's also, on the defense side, so it's a little easier for him to come in and make an impact right away.
yeah, especially if they're going to mainly use him on passing downs and say, hey, go get the quarterback until you're a little more comfortable with the defense. I also like
Yeah.
I also like D'Amico Ryans. I think he's going to be a pretty good coach, and um, I mean, the Texans can pretty much kill any coach's prospects, so we'll see if he can rise above that. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, no, I think
that's a rough
he'll be
one.
a good coach, but I think it might take, you know, 2, 3, 4 years. I mean,
Yeah,
even when they drafted like Stroud, I was still saying that they should probably just stick with Davis Mills, at least for the first 6 games.
agree.
Give him the first third of the season, and if he sucks, he sucks. And then, okay, at that point, your season's probably already toast anyway. Go ahead and throw Stroud out there and let
Correct.
Stroud learn that way. But
Yep.
yeah, from the way it looks like they're just going all in on Stroud right away. And I mean, more power to you, but I don't envision them winning again more than maybe a handful of games, and that's being generous.
Yeah, their over under is 6.5, and over
Yeah, there's
six.
no way they're getting 6.
So you're telling me you're taking the under on that one?
Oh hell yeah! Yeah, if they put the under at 4, I still might take the under. Like, there's no way
Ooh.
in hell they're winning 6 games.
Are you locking
No way
this?
in
Are
hell.
you locking this up? Is this the first official Poppin' Pads podcast lock of the season, lock of the
Oh
week?
yeah,
Lock it
easy.
up.
They are not winning 6 games. Well, technically 7 games. They're not winning 7 games. There is no way.
All right. Sound the alarm.
They're,
We are on
telling you,
board. And Andrew is
they're
on for a hard under pick of the week. I think
yeah.
that was
Wait a
confidence
second.
inspiring.
When you said the odds for winning the division, what were their odds for winning the division?
Plus
Like,
700.
so they weren't last.
No, they
The
weren't.
Colts.
No. They are last. They're plus 800. The Colts are ahead of
Okay,
them
so
at
they're
plus
plus
700.
800, and somehow their over under is 6.5. That just, I don't know. Something about that just does not sit right.
Yeah, you're thinking
That's
at a. I mean, yeah. That's a lot
yeah. I don't
of.
know.
That's a lot for a plus 800. I agree with you on that. That's a good point.
Yeah, like
I
if
mean,
you're, yeah, I don't know.
I
If I
ain't
had
taking the plus 800, but
no,
I could see
not
some action on the under on that 6.5. I don't hate that
yeah,
either.
no.
I'm not jumping on as a lock. I'm gonna let you keep that one, but I'll lock one up here before long.
Yeah, well, we all know my opinions are pretty strong when it comes to the NFL, so I might have a few more locks by the end of the episode.
All right, we'll just have to make sure we have a an accounting of them, and we'll we'll keep a running tab of how each of our locks are doing.
Yeah.
All right, so we who else we got in this? We got the Colts. Obviously the big story with the Colts is the unfortunate with Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah.
He's holding out. He wants out. So I've actually heard the discussion yesterday in our fantasy football draft about he I guess it's looking like Philadelphia is going to go hard after him.
Yeah, Philadelphia was one of the top teams. I think Miami is still trying to find another running back. I'm pretty sure I read a story today that Miami reached out to the Raiders trying to get Josh Jacobs, and they said no. So maybe now they'll kind of pivot to Jonathan Taylor, who I think is better than Josh Jacobs when he's healthy. So I
All
probably
right.
would have Jonathan Taylor. Um,
So who?
but yeah,
Yeah. I
he's
mean,
not staying in Indianapolis any longer.
no. I guess not. That's another one that's just kind of tough too, because if it looks like they're going to start Richardson week 1, and I don't.
Yeah,
I'm sure
no,
that
through
that
therapy.
has to be playing into Taylor's decision that he wants out. Because I mean, if it was me, I wouldn't want to. Again, I have a thing against playing rookie quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So if I was Jonathan Taylor, I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want to be in Indianapolis anymore either.
Yeah, I
There's
mean, there's no upside to staying there.
no.
I mean, because who did they have besides Richardson? They had who the hell was their quarterback last year? No, they have Gardner Minshew and Sam Ellinger. Yeah, that
Yeah.
none of those three are gonna win you
No.
very many games.
Nope.
I'd love to hear what the over under on their win total is, because I would almost say they're probably gonna get nowhere near their over.
You know what?
Like
Yeah.
Richardson
Oh
might show
man,
out, but
this might be one that I'm gonna lock up. But you're getting -115 for under 6.5 wins. Yeah, I
yeah.
don't. I'm locking that one up.
I mean, now granted, they get to play the Texans twice. Who knows? Maybe they'll tie like they did last year.
I mean, I think at the very least, it's pretty safe to say that they're probably going to get swept by both the Titans and the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, I
So,
think the Titans and the Jags probably don't lose the division game unless it's against each other.
I kind of
That would be
I'm
I'd
going to
be
take a look at
shocked.
their schedule. So, Colts schedule 2023. Let's see who they got. All right. September 10th. Let's say they start. They open with the Jaguars.
Yeah.
There's a loss. They got the Texans week 2. We'll call that a toss up. Then they got the Ravens. So there's 2 losses. Then they got the Rams. I'm pretty comfortable calling that a third loss. They have the Titans. That's 4.
Oh, the Rams are kind of shit.
But I don't think they're as shit as the Colts.
Probably not.
I mean,
Although I don't know. Have you looked at the? I know we're not doing the West today, but the Rams defense outside of Aaron Donald is literally a bunch of no names.
who do the
So
Col-
they might.
who the Colts got over there?
They got Michael Pittman. They got
Well,
Alec Pierce.
I mean on
They don't
their
have a
I mean
quarterback that's really good enough to throw it to him.
I
For
mean
their
on their
defense. Yeah.
defense. Yeah. They gonna stop? Oh shoot! What the hell's his name? I can't remember their quarterback's name now. Anyway, doesn't matter. We're not on that division right now anyway.
Yeah.
And then they got the Titans, so let's call that 5 losses. And then they got the Jags again, that's 6. Then they got the Browns, probably 7. Saints, maybe they could squeeze that one out. Panthers, I
Depends on
think,
how Derek Carr's doing at that point.
yeah. Panthers, I think Panthers could be better this year. Maybe, I don't know. Miles Sanders might have
Quarterback.
another rookie quarterback. That's what I'm saying. It's just so I have to put that one as a toss up then too. Yeah, then the Patriots, Buccaneers, they suck. There could Titans again, Bengals, Steelers, Falcons, Raiders.
Whoa! I want to hear what they're going to do against the Bengals.
Well, I think you know what they're going to do.
If you say anything other than getting the shit kicked out of them, we're going to have problems.
I just assumed
Even
it was.
against the Steelers.
I assumed it was rhetorical. I'm over here going like I don't even have to say it. I don't even have to say it.
I think even your Steelers might be able to beat the crap out of them.
Oh, the Steelers gonna beat the crap out of a lot of teams this year. They're making me feel real good. All right, we're getting off track though. We're getting off track. All right, I think the Colts. Yeah, they don't have the strongest schedule overall. They play a lot in their division, obviously, and the teams they play outside of the division are not really overly that strong either. So they could potentially squeeze out 6.5. But I still think them as a 7-10 team is highly unlikely. So I'm still locking up the under on the 6.5.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty easy one
Yeah.
to lock up.
So back to the Jaguars. We didn't really talk about them a ton.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty universal that people are expecting T-Law to take another step forward. Etienne is a beast in my opinion, and I guess they brought in a guy to help carry the load for him. And Tank Bigsby is supposed to be ready to fill that void. At least my brother said so in his suggestions for my fantasy draft. He's a big Bigsby guy, so he tends to know his stuff as well. Yeah, they just went on such a good run at the end of the season. They bringing in Calvin Ridley, who could be a little bit bigger receiver to complement Christian Kirk. I think the biggest problem with them is going to be their defense again.
Yeah. The whole division is kind of farce when it comes to everybody's defense.
Yep.
I mean, you have like Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker and Oloakun.
Yep.
And outside of that, name me one other starter on their defense. Probably can't.
Right. No, I absolutely can't. Not
So
even
it's like,
close.
yeah. So I mean, they might be able to pressure the passer with those three. And Olokun's a tackling machine. Probably got like 5,000 tackles in the last 3 years.
Yep.
Like, but outside of that, yeah, their defense isn't that great, and that's kind of what bit him in the ass in the playoffs last year. Um, but yeah, with given T Law another weapon and Ridley, although we'll see how good he is, having to sit out for an entire year.
Right.
I think at the wide receiver position, it's not really that bad to sit out a year. I mean, technically, Jamar Chase before his rookie year sat out an entire year, and I think that turned out okay for him.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think it can be fine, uh, but anything could have happened in that year. He was not doing anything,
Right.
but they kept Evan Ingram. They thought they might lose him, but they were able to keep him. They kept Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, ETN is you know if he can stay healthy, I can envision him being like a Christian McCaffrey type. Uh,
Yeah.
he's good
I,
running the ball and he's
yeah.
great catching it. He definitely gives them that extra weapon coming out of the backfield. Just their offensive alone is enough to win this division, probably pretty handily.
I think
Because I
so.
really don't think any of the defenses in their division can stop them.
Agree. Agree.
I mean, I'd be shocked if they're not putting up like 30 a week against their division opponents.
All right, so let's get our official orders of finish for this division. Then I think it's pretty obvious that we both have Jacksonville taking this division going away in the one hole. Um,
Yeah.
I don't think it's a far cry to say we're both on board with Tennessee in the two hole.
Yeah, Tennessee's better than Indianapolis and Houston.
Yeah, I feel like their quarterback problems could just really come to bite them. They could slip down, but I just don't think it's very likely at this point.
Yeah. I mean, now if Tannehill or Henry go down early,
Yeah, that could change
then
everything.
anything's fair game at that point. But
Yeah.
yeah, if Tannehill and Henry can stay healthy, they're better than Houston and the Colts.
All right, so who do you have in your three hole? Because at this point, I think we're just flipping a coin and
Yeah. Uh, to me, knowing they're going to lose Jonathan Taylor, I'd almost have to say like the Texans probably have a better shot of finishing above the Colts than the Colts do of finishing above the Texans. So I think I would go, even though I think the Texans aren't going to win hardly any games, I think the Colts are probably going to lose or win less than the Texans do. So I'm
that's
going to go with the Texans at 3.
that's fair. All right, then in the name of swimming against the current of the stream, being the contrarian I am, I'll go ahead and take the Colts in the three hole. So we can't have the same thing here. We can't just be in
No,
total
yeah,
agreement.
no,
That just goes against the way the world works.
no. That's not how Steelers and Bengals fans operate.
No, no, no. We can't be on the same page the whole time. No, this is unacceptable.
Exactly.
All right, on to the now the NFC South. We just went through the gauntlet that is the AFC South. Now we'll follow up with another absolute gauntlet of the NFC South. Um,
Yeah, a stinker of all stinkers, I think.
it's not good. It's definitely not good.
No, it's definitely not good.
Where do you want to start with this one?
I don't know. It's kind of similar to where we just were. There's one team that's probably going to stand out from the rest, and in my opinion, that's going to be the Saints. I don't know if you're feeling the same way, but I
At,
think we should start there.
at this point, I'm 100% on the same page because the Falcons, which probably the other team that has a legit claim. I just don't believe in Desmond Ritter right now. So, yeah.
Yeah, being a
So,
UC fan, like that hurts to say and hurts to hear, but like I kind of agree.
yeah.
Maybe this year will be his kind of like, you know, kind of breaking in year, but yeah, I don't think he's going to lead them anywhere this year.
I mean, the one thing going in his favor is he did sit a year, so he had some time to get acclimated to the game. At the very least, that being said, I think he could be effective at managing the game,
Yeah.
especially with the running game they have. I still think their pick of Bijan Robinson was absolutely puzzling, considering how good Tyler Algier and Cordero Patterson have been, like as a
Yeah.
duo. It just seemed like an unnecessary ad. I mean, they must think so highly of Bijan to pick him that high when it clearly wasn't a need. You know, especially
No.
running back top 10, that just doesn't happen anymore. So,
Well, can we just talk about how Spencer took Bijan number 2 last night in our fantasy draft?
right?
I mean, talk
Yeah,
about 8 being too high in real life. In fantasy football, taking him number 2 overall when you had Justin Jefferson sitting there, Christian McCaffrey sitting there, Jamar
yeah,
Chase sitting there.
yep.
We won't talk about pick number 1 yet, but we will next probably.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, yeah, I couldn't believe that too, especially being that it's a PPR league. Not knowing really what you're going to get out of Bijan. Um,
Yeah.
I would have been all over C-Mac in that spot. If I had first overall pick, I would have taken C-Mac. And if I had the second
I
overall
thought
pick, I
so.
might have taken Eckler. Just
Eh,
I
I can
just
see that.
it just in PPR leagues, even half point PPR, man, you just give me running backs who rush for around 1,000 yards and will catch 50 passes. Like
Yeah.
that's a
Yeah, because
that
those guys will score out the gym.
as they will. Those are the best guys they have, and you know, if other people don't see that, that's fine. That's fine. They can have those people. I'm sure Bijan's gonna be great. I'm sure he's gonna be awesome. Number 2 pick, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but definitely think the Saints have the clear shot at taking this one, pretty much going away. Every other team in the
Yeah.
division seems to have some serious quarterback issues. Um,
Yeah. And they don't. I mean, to be fair, I don't think Derek Carr is like a future Hall of Famer.
but
Some
he's
people seem to think he is.
but he's functional.
Yeah. I mean, he'll get the job done with the weapons that they have. I
Yeah,
mean, Chris Olave, Michael Thomas, the Rashid Shaheed, the need for Shaheed.
that's right.
You know,
ADU's boy.
yeah, Alvin Kamara, he's suspended for 3 games, but
Yeah,
in his absence, they have Jamal Williams. So a plenty serviceable back.
and their
Then when
defense
they
is
get Alvin
solid
Kamara
too.
back, now you got a 1-2 punch that most teams do not have. And their defense is probably I don't know if they're going to be the best defense they have in that division, but it's definitely better than the bottom 2. So they're probably 1A, 1B maybe
Yeah,
in that division.
yeah.
I mean, they definitely have a solid cornerbacks.
And if Carr is, I mean, they have Olave, they have Michael Thomas on the outside. Like, there's a lot for Derek Carr to work with there. Um,
Yeah.
if he can be functional, if he can be, his biggest problem is he tends to try to do too much at the wrong time.
Yes.
He'll look good all game, and then he'll just throw a pick. It just is like, dude, just sit on it. you didn't need you,
Yeah.
you didn't need to throw that.
And I think the one thing that might bite the Saints in the ass is Taysom Hill. They try to get him involved too much in the passing game. Just leave him be. Just let him be a tight end.
Yep.
And if he wants to run the ball here or there,
Yeah.
fine, whatever. But I think last year there were some games he'd have like 5 pass attempts. But it's like, well, why are you taking out your starting quarterback to try to throw 5 passes with a guy who spends 90% of his practice as a tight end?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, sure, he was a quarterback in college, but you don't need to try to throw it, 5, 6, 7 times a game with him.
Yeah.
Just leave him be. Let him stay at his new position. Leave him be.
I mean, I know you need to do it at least a couple of times just to keep defenses honest, but to have him do it
Yeah,
more than a half a dozen times a game is kind of silly, in my opinion, as well.
yeah. I want to say in the game last year against the Bengals, he almost had an entire series where he played quarterback. It was like he did it like 2 or 3 plays in a row, didn't do it, and then came back and did like another 2 or 3 in a row. I'm like, what the hell are they doing? Granted, I'm saying that because they're playing the Bengals. Otherwise, I wouldn't really care. But it's just Yeah, they get a little too gimmicky at times because they have him and they know that they can do it. I think just let Carr run the offense. If you want to do it once or twice, whatever, not a big deal. But they probably need to get away from it as much as they can.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, if you're taking away quality snaps in the meantime, then then it's definitely something worth
Yeah,
quitting. But yeah, I think just sometimes coaches need to prove to themselves that they're creative and innovative and doing things that are on the cutting edge instead of just playing sound, solid football with the best guys you got.
yeah.
Uh,
I do think the one thing on their defense that's gonna hold them back is their defensive line. Outside of Cameron Jordan,
hmm
they don't really have a solid like. Oh yeah, that guy's gonna be good. They did draft that Brian Breesy out of where was he? Purdue. Um,
Breezy was
no,
Clemson.
he was Clemson. So they did draft him out of Clemson, but
He's got to stay
as of now,
healthy.
they have him. Yeah, but they also have him listed as a defense tackle. In
hmm
college, he played end more often than he played tackle, didn't he?
he no, he played tackle more than he played end, but he would swing out.
Okay.
He would swing out and play at, end on passing downs.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah, he
So yeah,
was
I
he was
mean,
he mainly played D tackle.
if they can get him working, I mean, that would give them, another person to pair up with Cam Jordan. I think
Yep.
their defensive backfield is pretty good, and their linebacking core is pretty solid for what they have. But yeah,
Yep.
if they can't rush the passer and or stop the run, that's probably going to be their Achilles heel. But I do think they're kind of the clear favorites from all the other teams in the division.
Yeah, I think the Falcons can give them a run. That running game is strong enough to really carry them.
Yeah,
If Ritter can be a manager of the game and their defense is at least average, I think that they can give the Saints a run. I mean, obviously, like the betting odds are the Saints are plus 125, the Falcons are plus 175. So, um, despite what we're not sure what we're getting with Atlanta at quarterback. I think they got enough going for them that they can grind out some wins that maybe they shouldn't if as long as Ritter stays within himself and is more of a game manager than a quarterback who's trying to win the game, on his own.
yeah,
So
yeah. I do think there's. I mean, they have the weapons, but now you have almost too many. Like, are you going to put? Are you going to push Cordero back out to like a wide receiver, or are you still going to keep him as your running back? Now that you have Bijan and Algier, who were, you know, obviously Bijan's a rookie, but Algier was outstanding last
yeah,
year
yeah,
whenever he would play.
Algier was stealing carries from Cordero by a lot. Like there were some games where Cordero didn't have more than 4 or 5 carries, and Algier
Yeah,
was going for like 12 for 90 or something like that.
yeah. So it's almost like they're rich in one specific area, and is it going to come back and kind of bite them in the ass that they didn't kind of spread that out?
Well, I mean, I think it depends on how they decide to use it. I mean, I could see them, like not a not a single wing per se, but something that has more power. You see more two wide receiver sets, even single wide receiver. Just leave London out there to do his thing, and then you can
Yeah,
you can use Cordero in the slot. He still does have those skills. He's still good at getting out into the passing game and making plays in space. So, if you take some of that between the tackles burden off of him, you play him in the slot, you motion him through, you can maybe do some shovel passes, you could run some end arounds, you could do a lot of things with him if he's near the line of scrimmage, if he's near the, the play when it's snapped, you can do a lot of things with him. And if they open that up, if they go that route and kind of make him more of a hybrid wide receiver running back, I think he would really, really thrive in that. And then that would open up, I would hope that Bijan and Algier are going to share carries. I kind of would still be surprised if Bijan had the number one spot right from the go and was getting 20 to 25 carries a game with Mr. Productive Tyler Algier back there going, hey, what about me?
Yeah.
Still pretty good. So I think they're gonna have to use those three guys because other than Olave, like, those are their best three guys. And Pitts has all the talent in the world, but he still hasn't really done anything yet.
Yeah. Pitts needs to figure out what he wants to be. Does he want to be a tight end? Does he want to be a wide receiver? Like,
Right.
me personally, I think he's probably more fit to be like your slot wide receiver. I mean, dude's like 6'6", 6'7", something like that. Like, just let him run down the middle. Like, don't worry about putting him at the end of the line. Let somebody else handle that crap because he
Yeah.
cannot block to save his life. Like,
Swing
just
players, hybrid players, hybrid wide receiver,
yeah,
H back kind of a thing. Like if that's his thing, then go for it. It's like I don't necessarily think that, and I don't think a lot of people in the NFL do either. That you necessarily have to fit people into into a little box anymore. Like, oh, you're a running back. Oh, you're a
yeah,
tight end. If you can do a little bit of everything and swing between, that's just one more weapon. If they kind of use Pitts as another version of what Patterson is, where he's going between the slot and the ends and the wings, and you can give him shovel passes. You can run little slip screens with him up the middle. You can have him out in the slot. You could do a lot of different things with a guy with that kind of a skill set besides putting him on the end of the line and asking him to block for the running backs. But I think it takes
yeah,
a particular offensive coordinator that's going to be creative enough to really use those guys and maximize what they're able to do best.
yeah. And like, just to give a little context, so Pitts is 6'6", 246,
Mm-hmm.
according to the Falcons website. They have a wide receiver in JJ Arcega-Whiteside who is 6'2", 237.
Wow.
So he's 4 inches taller and 9 pounds heavier than a quote unquote wide receiver. Just put Pitts at wide receiver. Like, just not
Well,
saying, oh, he's too big to be a wide receiver. He's too big. Like, who
I
gives
will
a shit?
say
He's 9 pounds heavier than this guy.
I have to give a counterpoint just to say that 237 pounds is giant for a wide receiver that is at least 6'4". you know,
Yeah,
you know
6'2", 237. I'm like, this
that's
dude's got to be like the fattest wide receiver in the NFL.
that's David Boston size. Like that's
Yeah,
he's basically a fullback playing wide receiver. So I
yeah. And
think
then they have Matt Collins, who's 6'4", 221. That's a little more like normal.
yeah,
Drake London, 213, 6'4".
yes.
So yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's a typo there on JJ Arcega-Whiteside, but 6'2", 237 does not sound like a wide receiver to me.
No, not at all.
Fullback, maybe.
Not at all. But yeah, so let's give a little run to the Carolina Panthers here. They're the next in the list. Vegas has them at plus 425. So I see some upside here. Like you said, another rookie quarterback, most likely. But I think Miles Sanders could do pretty good there. I think they have some potential, but at the same time, they're not really that good either.
No.
I kind
Who
of go back and forth on
who
this team.
yeah, who's gonna catch the passes? DJ Chark? I mean, yeah, okay, maybe.
Did they lose
They
DJ Moore?
signed, yeah, they traded DJ Moore to
Oh,
Chicago.
I missed that one.
So DJ Chark and Adam Thielen, I mean,
Yeah,
Thielen's good and all, but he's 33 years old at this point.
yeah, he's
Like,
he's on the
not going to be a
backside.
number one. He could be
Yep.
a serviceable, like, kind of slot number three wide receiver. So then what? Laviska Shenault, is he going to be your number two, your number one?
Yeah.
Jonathan Mingo, the rookie they drafted, is he going to be your number one, number two? Like,
Yeah, that's a lot of uncertainty
I,
there.
they definitely did not do a very good job of surrounding Bryce Young with outstanding talent. Hayden Hurst at tight end. Is he going to be good without Joe Burrow throwing him the ball? Maybe, but CJ Uzama did not have the greatest year going
Yeah.
from. Granted, he went from Burrow to the Jets, so
Yeah,
there's
I'm
kind of
with
a
you
big
on that.
downgrade at that point.
And I'm not a Bryce
But
Young.
yeah,
I'm not a Bryce Young guy either. Like I don't love him. It's just hard to buy into a sub 6 foot quarterback. It just is.
yeah,
I felt the same way about Kyler Murray. But Murray at least shows that he could be good if he got into the playbook and actually put some film study into
yeah,
it.
yeah. If he wasn't
But
playing Call of Duty every night.
right.
Like it, Bryce Young is watching I think it was the second game. There was one play where he like scrambled in the backfield for like 7, 8, 9 seconds. Like, just throw the fucking ball away. You're in the NFL. Like, you're not in
Yeah,
college anymore.
yeah,
Like, throw the ball away. You're gonna get yourself killed.
yeah.
Like, he's gonna have to learn to do that. And I get it. You're trying to make an impression on your new team and this, that, and the other, but just don't do anything stupid to where you're gonna get yourself just annihilated
Right,
by one of these linebackers coming through
right.
untouched and is just gonna hunt for your head.
Yeah, the only impression he's going to make is into the ground when they drive him into it.
Exactly. Yeah, it'll be Tua 2.0. Like,
Yeah,
let's not see that happen. But yeah, they did not, with what they had. I'm pretty sure they had decent draft capital to where they could have maybe moved up and probably helped by getting some better weapons for him. I mean, again, they drafted Jonathan Mingo, but I don't know. I don't remember when they drafted him. That was probably like later in the draft.
second round.
I can't imagine he was a second round pick.
He's a second rounder. Yep.
Okay, I would say like third or fourth round, but I mean,
But
okay,
even
so yeah, it was the
but even
39th overall
still,
pick.
like he's not going to be a number one as a second rounder. Like wide receiver is another one of those positions that
Yeah,
you can see some success in your rookie year, but it's usually success that builds into a real breakout in year two. If you get six,
yeah,
7, 8, 900 yards your rookie year, you're doing pretty darn good. And, those really kind of step right in Justin Jefferson kind of years just don't really happen all that often. It's more the exception than the rule. So I mean,
yeah,
I think if they get solid number three production out of him, then they're doing okay. I mean,
yeah. They'll be happy with that.
Chark's got the ability. I mean, he's blazing fast. He's one of those guys that I've just always expected to break out, but he just hasn't. And some of
Yeah.
that probably has to do with him being in Jacksonville for as long as he has, but since he's gotten out of there, he hasn't proven that he's any different of a player.
No, he's going to have to take a big step forward
Yeah.
because I do think he's going to probably wind up being the number one. Again, you can't really at 33. I don't think you can depend on Thielen to be your number one,
Yep, exactly.
passing option.
And their
Now, I
defense,
will
they're
say,
good.
go ahead. Well, I would say their defense is probably going to be the thing that kind of keeps them in it. Um,
Well, you hope they got
you
a
know,
they
they,
got a few good guys, but
yeah,
the rest of it's just kind of meh.
yeah, well, yeah,
Do three
they
players really
upgraded at
make a
safety.
defense?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
upgraded at safety. They got Von Bell now.
Okay.
He was great with the Bengals for the few years that we had him. Can he stay that good? Personally, I hope so. I like him. He's a good player, so I hope he does well as long as we're not playing him. But yeah, I mean, I think that's going to be the one thing that can kind of keep the Panthers around in the division is their defense. I don't know what their offense is going to do. Miles Sanders, if he has a year like he did last year, then great for the Panthers. But part of me thinks with the fact that you now have a rookie quarterback, they're probably just going to tee off on the fact like, oh yeah, we'll put 7, 8 in the box. Go ahead and try to run it. You're not gonna. So then you're going to try to pass it, and you got a rookie quarterback, and anything can happen at that point.
Yep. Yep.
Generally, not something good.
Yeah, it's usually not on the good end, that's for sure. So, um, you know what? We might as well at this point go right on into the Tampa Bay Baker Bucks. What do you think about Baker being
Um,
Mayfield being named starter for that team?
I mean, to be fair, who was he going up against? Like,
Kyle
his grandma.
Kyle Trask.
Yeah, Kyle Trask. Yeah, the if Baker didn't win that, uh, you know, quarterback competition, I'd feel
Yeah.
a little worried. He probably has the best outside of uh, the Falcons with the wide receivers. I mean, you got Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Not many
Yeah.
teams can say they have a 1-2 that's as good as that.
Correct.
So if they can stay healthy, I think Tampa Bay can be decent. But yeah, outside of those two, I mean, what Rashad White? Are you really hanging your hat on him to be the running back to take you over the top?
Right.
I just don't see that. And their defense is not. their defense isn't going to be
What?
winning them any Super Bowls
Right.
anytime soon.
It's not what it has been.
No, I mean, you still got Vita Vea, but at this point, he's probably what 5, 6 years in the league, so he's
Yeah.
probably slowing down. He's reaching the end of his like star
Right.
years. Yeah, he's had 6 years in the league, so he's 28. He's probably got another couple good years, but if you don't surround him with some better talent, it doesn't matter how good he is. It's not gonna win you the games.
You know what? I agree, but I think that there's still enough there, and teams like that who know how to win, have won in the recent past, will often still
Yeah,
squeeze out a few. And the over under on the Bucks is 6 wins. Like it's surprising to me that the Bucks are at 6 wins while the Texans and the Colts were at six and a
6.5.
half. I feel
Yeah,
like I feel like that's an undervalue there, and I mean -110 at I'm sorry -120 for the over. I
yeah.
I
I,
you know, I don't
for that, I would take the over.
I don't think Baker is I kind of like view Baker similarly as I do David Carr or Derek Carr.
Yeah,
Like
I would say
I
hopefully
kind
not David.
yeah, right. There's two of them. Wow, I can't remember. I think maybe Baker is a lesser version of Carr, but still like he's somebody that you can be successful with. Like yeah, they underperformed in Cleveland over there with all that talent, but
Yeah,
they're I
they
think
also didn't really do him any favors.
no, they didn't. No, they didn't. And there was a lot of, pressure on him when he came in there as well. So I'm hoping that, by going into Tampa here and getting this job and, maybe he can relax a little bit and play some ball. So I have a feeling that they're going to be sneaky better than 6 wins. I don't think it's going to be a whole lot. I see them maybe getting to, 8-9 or 7-10 or something like that. But I don't think the
Yeah,
rest of the division is I could see them stealing one from Atlanta. Like
yeah,
they could very easily have 3 wins in the division alone. Like, I don't know if
yeah.
I don't know if they can beat the Saints, but with what else is in the division, I don't think they're a surefire basement team there. I could easily see the Carolina Panthers ending up as the last place team in that division.
Oh, easily. And looking at their offensive line, kind of get the wondering like, why wouldn't the Buccaneers be in play for trying to get Jonathan Taylor? I mean, that's a pretty decent offensive line. It's one
Yeah.
that you can definitely run behind.
Mm-hmm.
And you put Jonathan Taylor on that team, it's not going to take a lot to get Jonathan Taylor. The Colts are hoping for like a number one, but there was literally a story that interviewed like 10, I don't know if they were general managers, but basically 10 members from 10 different NFL teams. Not a single one of them was like, oh, yeah, they're going to get a first round pick. It was mainly like thirds, maybe a late second, but it was mainly like a third and a fifth.
Yeah.
Like, I'd take a third and a fifth to
Yeah,
try out
right.
Jonathan Taylor.
Yep.
I
Assuming you
mean,
can sign
I
him
know
though,
it's a
because you
1 year
you
thing.
you have to think that
Yeah.
he still wants paid. So if
Yeah. He still's going to want the money.
yeah, and that's
So that's
that's
another thing. I don't know their cap room, but
I'm sure that's what's driving his trade price down because it's like not only are you getting the player, you're also getting the headache.
yeah. Yeah.
So
Because he's wanting $20 million a year.
yeah,
Yeah. Good luck with that.
exactly. So, I agree with you that if they do get him, then that changes everything. But even still, I think that they can be effective without him.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah, they're
go.
definitely gonna get more than 6 wins.
I think so. I think I'm pretty confident in that play. I might take that. I mean, I'm not going to lock it up, but I'm strongly considering making that one of my plays. All right, let's go.
That's a good one.
Let's get our order of finish then. In the one spot, who do you have?
I'm gonna have to go with Saints. As things stand today, I think they have the better roster to compete outside of the division. I think anybody in this division can win a couple of games, but outside of the division, I don't really see them competing that well. So I would kind of say the Saints are probably my number one.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think the odds makers probably have this closer than it should be. I think the Falcons be closer to a plus 300 kind of a play in this situation. So
Yeah.
I have the Saints in the first spot as well. Number two, I have the Falcons. I do think that Ritter can be solid enough for them to do what they do. The defense definitely concerns me, but I'm comfortable slotting them into the two hole here.
Yeah, I would go with the Falcons too. I mean, Ritter had whatever it was, 4 or 5 games at the end of last year. If he can take a minor step forward, I think he'll be all right, but not enough to get the Falcons into the playoffs this year. But yeah, I think they're definitely the second best team here.
All right, who you putting in the three hole?
Baker or Bryce? I'm a go Baker. Baker and the Buccaneers are going to be marginally better than Bryce and the Panthers.
You know what? I so badly want to be contrarian here, but I can't. I can't. I feel like I brought you over
Yeah,
to my side though, so I'm taking credit for your opinion.
yeah. I mean, I don't. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of backing up Baker Mayfield in any stretch of the imagination. But you
Yeah.
know what? When he did what he did last year, when he like literally like got to the Rams, whatever it was, a day or two before the game, and then
Yep.
you know dropped a 50 bomb or whatever the hell it was on whoever it was that they were playing and won the game.
Yep.
Like, okay, like you can't really hate the guy. Like, he can
No.
play football.
He's got moxie.
Maybe
He can
yeah,
just cut down on the dumb mistakes. And obviously that's the
yeah,
case with any player or any quarterback. You got to keep it together. But if he keeps it together, he's solid. He's an easy guy to get
yeah,
behind. But at the same time, it's
yeah. Maybe now and maybe now in Tampa will be his time to kind of show why he was a high draft pick.
I agree.
But yeah, I can't see Bryce Young with the lack of weapons that they have. I think maybe like 5 or 6 wins is really like the max that they're going to get, and
I
that's only because they're going to get to play the Falcons, the Saints, and the Bucks 6 times.
right.
I think they can probably. I wouldn't be shocked if every team in this division went 3-3. Like I really would.
I wouldn't either. I wouldn't either.
It's really
I just can't.
to me it comes down to the games outside of the division.
Yeah. And I think it always will. I think this is like you said. This is very much likely to be a situation where the teams are going to take at least a game away from each other. So, like you said,
Yeah,
a lot of 3-3 records in the division, and you know, it will limit these teams' ability to reach their overs if you're so inclined to taking overs. So, like
yeah.
even like Carolina's over under is a 7.5. I mean, we
There's
get
no way. There's
yeah,
absolutely no shot in hell. There's
right.
no freaking way.
Minus one
That's
twenty
even
for
worse
under
than
7.5.
That's worse than Houston at 6.5. There's
Yeah,
absolutely no way in hell
I'm
that the
I'm with
Panthers are winning 8 games.
hell no.
Not a shot.
All right, I'm locking that one up. I can't believe
So, yeah,
I can't believe I didn't see this earlier, but yeah, I'm taking the
yeah,
under 7.5 on Carolina all day long and twice on Tuesday.
yeah. Sorry to any Carolina Panthers fans out there, but there is absolutely no way in hell they're winning 8 games.
Yeah,
No way.
I'm with you 100%. Sorry, yeah, Carolina, just go fishing or something.
Yeah, yeah,
All right, man. Let's wrap this one up here for today. This was a good one. It was a good little warm
yeah,
up. We kind of got we got our feet wet with something that didn't make us think too terribly hard.
yeah.
I can very much appreciate that.
Yeah, when it comes to thinking and us, those two things don't go very well.
Well, you don't want to say that too loudly. We want people to listen to us.
Yeah, true, 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 true.
We are the smartest people alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll be back. We'll do this again next week. We'll do another division. What do you think for next week? Which one do you want to tackle?
I think next week we should do, I think the West. So NFC and AFC West.
NFC AFC West. All right, heard it here
Yeah.
first. Next week, we got the AFC NFC West previews. Join us here for that. Once again, you'll see it next week, and we're going to get all these done here before the season starts and keep bringing you guys more great contact. So, from all of us at AD Unlimited and the Poppin' Pads podcast. Gosh darn it. I was so proud of myself for getting through it the first time. My name is Nate. This is Andrew, was as the most opinionated one of the two. I'm mostly just agreeing with him.
Yeah,
But,
definitely the most opinionated. Yeah.
but if you like what you hear, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, the bell notifications, do all the thing, get us in front of some more people so that we can keep bringing you guys great content and talking your ears off. Anything else you want to add there before we go, Andrew?
No, congratulations to your Steelers for beating the hapless Falcons. I think they ended up winning. Yep, 24-0.
Oh, my guy Pickett looks so good. That deep ball to Pickens was a thing of beauty. Just throw it up to the guy, he'll catch it. His 50-50 balls are more like 80-20 balls. I love it. I'm really looking forward to our AFC North preview. That we're gonna have to do that one last because it's got to be the grand finale because we're really going to blows. All righty, wrapping it up again. Then once again, this is the Pop Pads podcast. My name is Nate. That is Andrew, and we will see you guys all next week. Thanks so much for listening.